You know, Celeste kind of sounds like molest. You think there's something there?
Jeez.
Like at the top of the mountain?
You molested the mountain the entire time. I don't want to open with this.
Oh my God.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Multiplayer. Don't scream at me. We're doing the show.
Are we now?
Welcome guys. It's a new week. We've got. Oh man. All right. Just let the viewers know what's going on before we do this whole intro. It's kind of a tradition for Zach. Right when I start doing the intro, for him to scream at me. So I'm always like on edge a little bit.
That's where I want you, baby. On
Right on the edge.
Keep on your toes.
Oh my God. I'm your host, Guillermo Dorado. With me today are the fabulous, the duo, the couch-sitting motherfucking wrench.
Trio.
I don't know. Zach Metzganis.
What up? I have put Nathan in a sleeper hold. I have knocked him out. He is over there in the corner.
He's actually right here.
Yeah,
He's
he's just-
nice and...
He is my footrest today, and I am back.
And we have Javier Ortiz.
Hello.
Did you know that's like your first name? Javier Ortiz.
Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
There it is. So 3 important things. We're going to get them really quick out of the way. Ready? 1, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a podcast. Number 2, if you're listening to this on podcast, which is on Google Play or iTunes, and also YouTunes. And then you can also watch this on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplayer. And then thirdly, and the most important really, is we have a Patreon page, guys. You can go there and you can actually... You don't have to fucking navigate all those different third-party servers and stuff like YouTube and Google Play and the really weirdly new YouTunes. You can go right to our Patreon page. You can actually listen to the podcast and view the video right then and there. One fucking place, all at once. You can do this as many times as you like.
Right
and
there.
we do have a donation button there that we offer some pretty sick-ass incentives. First one being $1 a month gets you 2 extra videos, which is our bonus round, which is a timed exclusive for our patrons, and then comes out a week later for everybody else.
And sexy calendars.
Huh?
Sexy calendars.
Yeah, those are coming soon.
Those are coming.
Are we really doing that?
Oh yeah, we got tons of pictures of you while you're sleeping. They're really, really good.
Dope.
Yeah, but you know, we got you
I
like
feel
February.
really vulnerable.
Planted props.
Yeah.
It's great. It's...
All right, so guys, we're gonna glaze over that voyeuristic thing you just said,
Ways.
and we're gonna talk about. Okay, so a lot of things are happening right now. You know, like Oscar nominations have just happened. Overwatch just gave 100 fucking different new items for people in the in that community.
People like to play it.
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever those people are called.
Right.
Yeah.
But we talk about Overwatch all the time, and this isn't a film podcast, so we're gonna talk about video games that we don't usually talk about, which is God of War.
But we just talked about God of War.
But there's new information, which is essentially its release date and a new story trailer dropped.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? Fuck,
No.
we should have watched it.
Man, you suck. You didn't watch it?
No, it's
I
cool.
have
Now we
been
have
working 16-hour days.
You were
I'm
playing
exhausted.
games earlier.
Well, we are
Wow.
talking about that.
I was here. You were using my Switch.
I played it for like 10 seconds.
But that's playing a game. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually kind of good because we both saw it and you haven't seen it, so you get to be the surrogate for the audience. I like that.
All right,
We
lay it
planned
on.
this.
No, everyone in the
good
world
job,
has seen it.
Zach, way to be prepared.
I try.
Okay, yeah. So God of War, the story trailer just dropped yesterday, a day ago.
A few days ago.
Well, yeah, a few days ago from the
A few days
video.
ago.
And essentially, we now get to see kind of what the hell is going to be going on besides that first announcement trailer that we got, or that gameplay trailer we saw in E3.
Yep.
It kind of goes through the storyline, which is apparently Kratos and his son Atreus, which it is now confirmed it is his son. They are now trying to take the dead body of his wife, little boy's mother, burn that shit. They say that in the game. We're gonna burn this shit.
Burn this shit.
And then,
Come on, Dad.
as her last wishes, take her ashes to the top of this mountain range that they are kind of living at the base of. But
The summit, as some call it.
summit, yes, the summit. But on their way there, in order to get there,
A whole bunch of shenanigans ensuing.
It's essentially a road trip movie.
It's basically The Hangover 4.
Right.
With Kratos.
And he's already got the face tattoo, so really halfway there.
Calls him Pedro sometimes and puts him on his chest.
There's a baby. Yeah. So yeah, essentially, in order to get to the summit of this mountain, you have to kind of pass through these different mythological planes of existence, and you meet gods on the way, and it's kind of teased that Kratos.
Do they say realms?
I don't know if they say. I don't know if they said realms, but they're in order to get there, you have to
past.
You gotta get there.
Yeah.
And she winked and nudged, and I was like, is this a sex mini game? Because I know they have them in these games. No. I don't really know if they called it realms or
Yeah,
not.
I don't
guess
know. I think they did, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that.
I'm pretty sure that it was close to that. But yeah, essentially, so like now they have to like kind of like pass through all these like mythological like Norse gods and whatnot. And apparently there's some like shit going on with Atreus. You know, he's like, I want to kill people because we got to get, you know, mom there. And then Kratos actually has some fucking like character now. I know you're not going to agree.
God.
But Zach, we both thought it's a pretty one-dimensional character. I mean, like let's face
He's like
it.
ashy. He's angry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's one dimension. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just always mad, but it really like
He is. I'd be pretty pissed off too if I had to go through his story.
dude, but I can't imagine like the voice actor of that guy had to like have like so many like throat lozenges and like it's always burning or like with
I think it's a
humidifier
new voice
everywhere he goes.
I think it's a new voice actor.
I'm saying for the old games
No, I
because
know.
everything he said was screamed. Errors! You know, like yeah. I gotta go take a shit. Like everything is like at 10. But in this game, he seems like he's much more like they really leaned hard into the father figure thing, where like he's like telling his son like, hey, you can't just kill without thinking. Like that's not how you should act. You know, he's like kind of teaching him like morality, and he's like centered himself. He's also still badass. He's still kicking ass and killing,
Throwing his axe around.
He's so dope.
But it's got his baby.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll throw it to you first since you've seen the trailer. Being a huge God of War fan.
Yeah, he's got a war.
He's got a war. Well, how do you feel the new direction they're taking? Like, they are giving him a more dynamic character. He's a lot more thoughtful, I would say, in this game than just, like, fucking kill things.
Well, you're dealing with the Kratos that hasn't existed since before the God of War story started.
Sure.
Because imagine, he did have a family before. He had a daughter and a wife, so I would imagine that this fatherly figure existed before they died and he went all angry at the world. So it seems like that Kratos is coming back, but in Norse mythology.
Sure.
What's interesting, though, is like he was teaching this kid in one of the trailers before. He was teaching him that he needs to kill, and the kid was like kind of scared. He was going to shoot a deer with his bow and arrow.
But like a magic deer.
No, it was just a deer.
It had like weird,
Might have
like
been a fawn.
crystal
Or a fern.
fern, or a Ford, depending on if you ask Nathan what his fucking last name is.
But he was teaching him like, hey man, you got to kill sometimes. Like that's life. But in this trailer, it's like, whoa dog, you can't just be killing all the time.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of weird. Like I want to know where that came from.
Well, it was like he was like, but it was a very respectful thing. Like, you know, you shot. He ends up shooting the deer at the end, but it's like laboring. You know, like with painful breathing. He's like, you have to finish the kill. Like,
exactly.
You know? So it's like a really respectful kind of like almost like Native American.
Right, and that's
buffalo kind of
and that's it's really beautiful, like the scene and all. But like now, it's just like Atreus has just gone off the deep end. He just wants to kill everybody now, apparently. But no, it's cool. Like I really want to know, because during the trailer you see him like look at his bandages and like those were where the chains were wrapped up.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting, like what happened after the end of God of War 3? Because I thought he killed himself.
He did. He threw himself off a cliff. But like it was kind of
No,
like...
that was the first one. He threw himself off a cliff.
No, he jumped off another cliff. There's many cliffs.
There's a lot of cliffs.
The
He's
third
just cliff jumping motherfucking.
he kills all the gods, and like chaos is
Raining
around the world, and then he takes the blade of Olympus and he stabs himself.
Oh, that's right. I remember there's a sword.
So that was the second one, but the third one is weird. Like he kills him. He definitely kills himself, but he can't kill himself. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I don't think that there's like a legitimate through line between the games because you're jumping through mythologies here in like completely different continents at this point. Not continents, but different.
But there's got to be some like explanation of like, why are you here? How'd you get here? Why do you have a kid now?
Probably a boat.
You think
a couple of those answers.
A boat.
Wait, do you legitimately think it's like the same Kratos from the last games? You think? It's I don't think he is.
You don't
It
think
is.
so?
It's the same dude. He looks exactly the same.
I
He
think
just
it's
has a beard now.
I think it's more like the Legend of Zelda kind of situation, where like every
No,
era is a new
this
hero
is
of
totally-
He's got bandages where his chains were before.
I mean, they do tease
The ash is there.
Yeah,
He's still ashy.
Still ashy. Yeah. Well, in the trailer, they do tease like how, you know, that there's another character that kind of like this woman who guides them through and tells them you need to get to these realms, and she kind of like seems like the Navi of the story. You know?
Yeah, this is the Oracle. Like in the first games, the Oracles
Exactly.
were there.
Yeah. And so she kind of
Like the
hints.
Matrix?
Yes.
No, shut up.
Like Enter the Matrix, that really shitty game for PS2.
I just kind of like that game.
That game is so bad.
The intro's really good. He's like shooting people and stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah. So Enter the Matrix. No. And she kind of like teases, like, takes Kratos aside and is like, does he know what he has in him, like the power, and like does he know about your past, and like, so it's like she's hinting at this kind of this demigod kind of thing that they all have within them. But I never thought that, this is the same guy from the God of War trilogy.
It definitely is. Oh yeah, it has to.
You think so too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it has to be. But I want to know, like, where this leads Atreus. I keep wanting to say Atreyu. Like,
I know, from
like Never-Ending Story. Yeah. But I want to know what Atreus is gonna do, because like God of War has always been about the son killing the father. Like that's what it's always been about. Like,
maybe that's how this ends, because like they do have to.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Gotta pass the torch. New God of War.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, apparently they want to do this with all direction of the new God of War games, just like all mythologies. I guess it doesn't have to be Kratos though, but
exactly. But that's my
Could
thing.
be any God of War.
yeah, there are many gods of war.
Yeah, but that's my problem with it though. Is like if they're gonna go into different mythologies, to me it kind of like breaks the immersion, or it breaks the story for me if it's gonna be the literal same character going through, like, we're really gonna have the one guy kill all the gods from all the mythologies. Like, that's
Kratos gonna kill everybody.
I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
But that's why Atreus might take the place, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
I can see that happen.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's going to be interesting to see either way where this character Atreus goes. Because, I mean, like, what do you do with the son of the God of War? Like, who just killed a bunch of gods. And it looks like he's going to kill some more gods, so with his son this time.
Except he's more thoughtful. He's like, I don't know if we should kill him. Okay, we'll kill him.
Yeah. But there's also like funny parts where the one dude in the tree's like, you have to use my head to get past the whatever, and he chops his head off, and he's like, I have his head.
It's like, well, he was really, at least he said I could. I got consent. That's what the game's about. It's about consent and killing gods.
Yeah, pretty much.
The consent of war.
Consent of murder.
Yeah, so now I'm going to pass it to you, but just to give you like a little bit more of a background, this trailer does have very much a feel of like a Naughty Dog game. There are these huge set pieces, which is not a
yeah, I mean, I got that even before this trailer.
Right.
Like, it feels very much like, kind of a blend between something like The Last of Us, and as far as like, you're a father figure and you have like this little sidekick running around like throwing rocks at people and stuff, and then it's got like the mixture of like, like big set pieces falling down and stuff like that.
Yeah, giant monsters.
Yeah.
I don't know what powers he gets. Does he get Nordic powers?
I mean, I would assume so. Ashy powers.
Throws ash at people.
Yeah, halfway through the game, you discover lotion. It changes everything.
There's no respect. There's no respect for Kratos.
But yeah, I mean, like, just from the trailer alone, which we'll show you after this thing is, I think you'll be really impressed at like how story-driven this seems to be. I mean, it's always been a story-driven game.
Yeah, I mean, like once again, I was getting that even before this last trailer. Like, I honestly haven't even been interested in looking at it. It's like I'd rather just go into the new game totally blind as to like what else is happening.
It might be good because they do show a lot. They show a lot of fuckery in the trailer. Like
a lot of fuckery.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. You're like, it looks dope. I'm like, should I have seen that? Like, so maybe staying blind is good. But I don't know. It definitely gives off the what's it called? It gives off the impression of a very grand, epic adventure that's very well written and very intentioned.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I mean, like I said, I was getting that even before this last trailer dropped. Like, I don't even think they needed it. Like, I was sold well before the last trailer.
Okay. Well, then here's the big question. Now the release date fucking comes up in glowing ass letters right at the end of the trailer saying, "Yo, 420 blaze it, 420 kill it." Yeah. More like 420 praise it. Anyways, and so
time to get ashy.
Yeah. It's not, but that's also the same date as the holiday for Wii. No, I'm just kidding. It's also the same date as Nintendo Labo's release.
Labo.
Labo. That was my favorite joke from last week.
Labo.
Yeah, so it has the same release date, which is like, do you think that's intentional? I don't know. But
No,
which one you getting?
Actually, I'm
Why not both?
yeah, I'm gonna get the Nintendo Labo God of War pack, where it's just like, you just take your cardboard and you make chains out of them.
And an axe.
And an axe.
You just throw it at people.
You can build a child. So it's
You are my son.
Yeah.
come on, cardboardist.
Yeah. You must know how to kill. I did like my one favorite thing from that trailer is how he's like kneeling down to the sun. He's like, you must. What is he saying? Like the heart. He's like using the heart, like use your heart as a weapon.
Yeah,
but you use your brain to
mind
temper that weapon. I was like, fuck. And it's much more poetic than that and like philosophical. But I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. There's perspective. You know,
Yeah, it's badass. I mean, you're dealing with a wiser and older Kratos. He's
Yeah.
seen some shit. He's been a
to
father
say
before.
the least, yeah.
So I mean,
You think all that blood would wash off the ash? You know what I'm saying though?
God, man, people.
Yo, you think he'd take a bath at the very least?
Yeah, he's gotta have like just loads of like blood-related
just
airborod, you know, like
Go
blood-related
jump in
diseases.
like the Mediterranean Sea. Wash that
Yeah,
off,
he's
bro.
at least got hepatitis.
People are the worst.
So okay, yeah, going back to Nintendo LeBeau. I mean, like,
It's Labo.
do you really think so too?
Yeah, they say it. It's
Do they?
Nintendo Labo.
Shut up. No, it's LeBeau.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck, I'm going.
You
yeah,
really thought
it's
it was
Labo. Yeah. I don't know who's
not
right in this
LeBeau.
situation.
It's LeBeau, okay?
This is who? You?
Me and Miyamoto said it.
You went to
We hang out all the time, dude.
Dude, why'd you fucking tell us that shit?
I mean, he's kind of about you, but
Do you know how fucking upset I would be if you legitimately met Miyamoto and he was like, yeah, I watch your show all the time. And then he's like, I don't like the host though.
I don't like him.
I would be destroyed. Yeah.
So, I'm canceling all future Mario projects because of how much I hate that guy.
You can blame him. We get a lot of like views, but the comments, death threats galore.
This is your fault,
like a-
Guillermo.
Yeah,
It's like
now I
every
become the
new
God of War.
Call of Duty game.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, so yeah, okay, so that's what it is, right? We have those two things going on the same day. I don't really think there's much of a contest.
No, I mean, they're completely different
Yeah.
audiences.
Yeah.
Like-
One's for children.
Yeah.
One is clearly not for children.
Yeah, I know. God of War is such a good kids game. It's really nice to get around with the
That
family.
would have been funny if they
Yeah,
were
totally.
also came out like, all right, so our new trailer's coming out for God of War. It's for
6 to
children
12-year-olds,
and
yeah.
children at heart.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what?
Oh, there's a kid in it though.
Yeah,
See?
there you go. He's like stabbing the fuck out of a monster. He's like, oh, like blood's flying on his face. Like, oh my god, crying. Like, this is traumatic.
Kids
But
gotta
you must
learn.
know. You must learn.
And then you build your
Jesus.
cardboard kit and off you go.
You actually gave me an idea because you know that there's some like YouTubers that like take like a game like Overwatch or whatever, and they'll like craft a new like controller to play it. Like some people like have like figure out ways to like connect
yeah,
the Donkey
bongos
Konga
and-
like
yeah, yeah.
bongos to play like Doomfist or some shit. I would love to see if someone could like do the robot kit and like connect that somehow into,
it's gonna happen.
into God of War. That
Oh,
would
into
be
God of-
fucking nuts. Crazy. You're not a fan. You're like, no thanks.
Nah. You can play as Kratos in Breath of the Wild.
What?
There's a mod for that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's
shit.
pretty cool.
Okay, so
Look it up.
I'm really excited for that game. I can't
Me
wait. for it
too.
to
I
see
can't
it.
wait.
It's that story trailer really. I mean, I was already sold pretty much, but now that I know there's like a lot more heart behind it, I'm really like looking forward to that game now. So
That'll be dope. Just like every other God of War game.
And it's coming out at, I think, a pretty good time. It's like
Halfway
still
mark.
the beginning of the year. Like, they're getting it out before E3, where they can then push something like Spider-Man in the fall and like Detroit.
Last of Us 2.
Detroit
Last
Rock
of Us
City.
2.
That's gonna be a good
Last
one.
of Us 2 is not coming out.
We'll see.
But
We shall see.
but it hasn't been announced yet. Don't know if it's going to happen, but you got to worry about something like end of April, because that's right around the same time frame as Rockstar announcing like they said it's spring 2018 Red Dead 2. So that could drop the same day.
Well, there was an Amazon Mexico leak that it comes out in July.
Oh yeah?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not spring. That's definitely not spring.
Yeah.
It's a late ass
it's-
spring.
Well, I mean, it was a
It's spring
leak.
in Mexico.
Nothing was
Oh, okay.
nothing was confirmed. It was just a leak on Mexico's Amazon site. It said like this product will be released July 18th. I think it said or sometime in July.
It's right around my birthday. I'm not saying a lot. I'm not trying to suggest or imply anything.
Play the first
but, like
one.
hypothetically, like
Play
if
the
I
first one.
wanted something
Play the first one.
for my birthday, I would say it was that.
Play the first one.
Play the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever. Didn't know there's a fucking like prerequisite
first one?
to getting a gift. Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Play the first one. Okay, cool. Yeah. So speaking of playing games, though, before the show started, we started to play a really interesting And another thoughtful game, I'll actually give that to you to explain because you actually went through the story a bit, but
Sure.
Celeste. Celeste came out on the Switch very recently, a couple days ago, a week ago when this video airs. But it's made by the same guy, Matt. What is it? Matt Makes Games.
Matt Makes Games.
That's the developer. Same maker of whatchamacallit, Towerfall.
Yeah,
Ascension.
Towerfall Ascension.
Is that the full? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like Towerfall then Towerfall Ascension, but it's
No,
Towerfall
it's
Ascension.
Towerfall Ascension.
Yeah, it is a 16-bit, beautifully crafted game. It definitely one of my favorite things about it is like it blends a lot of different art styles. It has a very unique feel to it. The music's great, but it is what they call a massacre game, which is I didn't even know that existed. But when I was massacre.
I haven't heard that term.
What does that mean?
It is essentially one of those games that it prides itself on how many times you die. And it kind of teaches you through that. So like Super Meat Boy is a massacre game, Spelunky and Trials are massacre games, and this is definitely up in that alley.
Oh yeah.
So essentially you play Madeline, who is this little girl who is trying to make her way up this mountain called Celeste.
She's not a little girl.
Huh?
She's not a little girl.
What is it?
She's like 18, I think.
Oh, I don't know. What's his 16?
She does look little. Yeah, she does look a little girl. Though.
It's
Not to be confused with Madeline from the movie Madeline.
Right.
The redhead chick.
You mean the French orphan? You're thinking of Matilda.
I am.
But Madeline is but Madeline is
that's
an
a thing.
animated film. Yeah, it's a French
Oh,
orphan.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
She's the redhead girl, right? With the
Yeah.
yellow?
Yeah, with the umbrella and the nuns like,
Yep.
don't do that.
We laughing over there, mate.
Slapping her with yardsticks.
Yeah, it's terrible. It teaches about how fucked up Catholicism is.
awful.
No, I'm just kidding. Or at least Catholic school. Yeah, so you play this character, and the whole game is basically centered around her ability to dash, jump and dash, jump, dash, and run.
Girl
around.
got hops.
Yeah, so it's each little screen is a little puzzle in and of itself to try to get to the next screen, and like sometimes these puzzles are very, very difficult, and you got to die a lot of times to learn it. But one of the beautiful things about this game that I really love is that when you die, the consequence is not super. There's not a lot of consequence behind it.
No, there's
you die, you immediately respawn right at the beginning of that little screen, and you try it again. So it's just like it's very encouraging in that sense. So I think, if anything, this is one of those games that is a good gateway for massacre games. Yeah. So like you play this game and it leads you straight to heroin. It's great.
Yeah, pretty much. Get the same
I
rush.
love playing that game on heroin.
Everything slows down and then you just don't play.
This game's great.
Yeah.
It's like those commercials.
I can't get the music out
Yeah,
of my
it's
head.
not
It's really
possible.
good. Okay, so that's basically the game. We all played it a little bit. Javier, you own it, so you got to play it the most.
Yeah.
That was kind of my first impression, so I got that shit out of the way. Should we jump to you about it, or should we give your first impression, and then you can give more of a detailed
Whatever
kind of
you
thing?
want,
Yeah,
whatever
we'll
you
give
want,
your first impression, then we'll go down the way.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know I've already mentioned it before we recorded, but Towerfall.
Well, you mentioned it on the show before, too. You
Yeah,
love
dude.
that fucking game.
That's a great game. I love
It's
that
like if I had to make a top 20 list of like my favorite games, it'd be on it, like easily.
Like games, period, or like indie
games.
Fuck.
I love Towerfall. That game is, I think everything about that game is just perfect for what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
It's like it's you know,
It is
it's
very fun.
Yeah,
It is very
it's-
fun.
Such
So-
like a perfect arcade game.
Yeah, good multiplayer
it's
game. too.
like it's a great multiplayer game. You know, just either versus or just like co-op, playing with a buddy or a couple buddies. It's a lot of fun. But even just playing by yourself, and then it's like trying to perfect that game. It's crazy hard. Each level is its own puzzle where it's like, okay, how do I beat this level without dying? And it's just like, there's some levels I have like 500, 600, 700, 800 deaths, but I just keep going back because it's that good between the music, the gameplay, everything.
And the lack of consequence, like loading screens.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
like,
it's just
having to wait for so long.
you're
as you
right
die
back in.
is-
So
Yeah.
playing Celeste, I personally get a lot of Towerfall vibes from it, from the really beautiful pixel art style to the mechanics like the dash, jumping off like wall jumping, stuff like that, to the music, the beautiful music, and to that like just die, start over, and just keep on just grinding till we see it at the respawn. No, I'm just
End episode.
but it's so like it's exactly what I was hoping for when I saw the first trailer at Nintendo's little mini direct they had, and I'm totally looking forward to like picking that up and play it and do it. It's like
it's $20, but it seems to
Yeah.
You said it was a little steep, but after playing it and like realizing how many collectibles they are, and like each level has this little item that you can find, and it's like a B-sides. So once you collect this B-side cassette, it actually opens up a remixed and harder version of that same level.
Yeah.
So it has like it feels like a lot of replayability. Again, this is just me coming off of like playing like about 30 minutes with you guys.
Yeah.
You would know more about that. So I think that it feels like it's worth the $20, especially considering you put like over like 80 hours.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
Towerfall.
have a lot of hours in Towerfall.
Right.
And it's you could beat that game in a day on like the easy or normal difficulty or whatever. But to like perfect that game is super hard. I've put a lot of time into Towerfall.
Okay.
I'd have to look at my actual hours, but I mean, it's a lot of time.
For sure.
Because it'll be like I'll try and play one level and put 4 or 5 hours into trying to.
I feel like
beat
these kind of games are not ones that you just pick up and like play for a second. You at least you intend to, and then all of a sudden, because you can't finish the level, and it takes you a lot longer. You're like, oh shit, 2 hours went by. I'm late for work. You know, like well,
a lot of times I'll play it like I'll pick it up at night. I'm playing, and then I played way too. It's been like 4 hours, and I'm like. It's like I can't beat this damn level, and then I go to bed all grumpy, and then I wake up the next morning, I pick it up, play it once, I'm like, I just beat that. Come on,
Sometimes
this game.
You still walk away sometimes and come back.
Kind of with a fresh head.
Yeah.
Okay, so now since you played a lot of this game, right? Like you've had this for a couple days now.
No, it came out. Yes, well, as we're saying this now, it came out the 25th, which technically is yesterday.
Okay.
As we filmed this on 26th.
Sure.
But yeah, But man, like I was playing it at work, and like I had some downtime, and literally every moment of downtime, I picked up my Switch and started playing that game. That's why the Switch is so perfect.
So how many hours do you think you played?
I think right now
80.
Before you guys,
Damn, in one day.
before you guys played, I think I put in like 4 hours.
Okay, so how far did you get in terms of levels?
I am on the 4th or 5th level.
Out of do you know how many?
I don't know.
It's like 8, right?
I think there's 8.
So you're about halfway through the game.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
But no, it's great because one, like you were saying, the gameplay is so smooth and it just feels good.
Yeah,
and
it's very responsive.
Yeah, and it's super simple, but in a good way. Like there's not much to the game, but at the same time, it's so complex because the
Towerfall.
Yeah, it's like I love side-scrolling platformers, and this is like a perfect side-scrolling platformer. Because it's all about traversing levels in so many different ways with only one type of movement. I mean, all you can do is jump and dash. That's it. Or you can climb as well. You can climb. That's true. You can climb.
Do not fucking forget.
But it's really cool.
Like kind of the springboard.
That's
jumping.
But I mean, that's not you moving. That's you utilizing the environment.
Yeah.
But I mean, all you can do is jump, dash, and climb.
It's like getting really. You don't fucking know anything about this game.
Shut up, Hob. Let me tell you about this game.
I played 10 minutes. All right. Yeah. But no, it's great. Like the replayability is super high, just because you say there's like a lot of collectibles, but there really aren't, because there's just strawberries and cassettes, and the cassettes.
But there's a lot in one level.
There are, but like that's it. Like that's those
but
things.
Wait till you get to the strawberry scented cassettes.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
But like the strawberries and the cassettes, they don't actually do anything in the game. Like there is a story, which is really good. But they don't actually affect the story in any way.
Sure.
They're for bragging rights.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
they're to tickle our perfection.
but when you see them, you're like, I can get that. And then you die 50 times later, and you're like, I can get this. And so you spend like an hour on one board, and but it's kind of Metroidvania where you explore around.
Which is another reason like why that game feels so replayable as well, because there are little like nooks and crannies that you can find, and like just from the playthrough of like about my 10 minutes I was sitting there, I found like 4 or 5 different like little areas that I was like some by mistake, and then some others I was like, oh, that looks like something. Crash the wall, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like you can crash through walls.
Oh yes.
Like in this game, as you get to the higher levels, like there are different things in the game that allow you to move in different directions, and like some of them you'll be on something that takes you through one board onto the next screen, and it'll help you get to an area you couldn't get to before, which is cool. It's utilizing like the entire map, even though you're on one board at a time.
Sure.
But kind of in theme of what we've been talking about a lot lately with our indie games is this is a game with a main character that has issues, which is really cool. Like you play as Madeline, who suffers from panic attacks, and she may suffer from depression. Like the game, she's climbing this mountain for like reason and purpose, because she she's like she doesn't
She
seem
might
like
find fulfillment just by climbing this mountain.
and
Seems like a metaphor.
It is a bit, and she meets this character Theo, who's like the opposite. Like he's super like high energy, and he's like, let's take pictures, and he's a kind of a selfie whore, and he's like all about Instagram. It's called Instapics in the game, but like he's all about his followers and like that kind of nonsense. But in the game, like she suffers from panic attacks, and like there's a moment where you have one, and the screen like it turns black, and he's telling her like it'll be okay. Like my grandmother taught me a secret, and you have to like match a feather in a box. But you have to match it with her breathing. It's really fucking hard, which I'd imagine a panic attack would be for a person suffering from one. But it's cool. It's utilizing like these real world issues in like a really little simple platformer game, which you wouldn't think of. But like the story is so beautiful, and like you care about these characters. She meets characters that like aren't real, and it's kind of like projections of her inner self, and like the world is kind of getting shitty because she feels so bad inside, and it's reflecting on the outside.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's we did talk about this last week a little bit more in depth with our Games for Impact discussion. But I think it's pertinent to say, remind us everything. But I really love when these developers take these problems, these issues that people have, or these mental disabilities or whatever, and find a way to incorporate it in the game controls themselves. Not just like using mechanics like seeing, oh, now like her mood is affecting like the outer world, and she sees kind of shitty things or environments because she feels shitty. But like that whole situation, the panic attack little mini game part is like trying to actually control and like rework your brain to get past that, and it really puts you in a different kind of it really what's the word I'm looking for? Gives you a whole new sense of empathy for these problems.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, the moment where she has like the panic attack moment happens, like spoilers. You're on a gondola.
I don't want to know.
Sorry, I'm telling you. You're on a gondola and you're going up a mountain, and it stops, and she just freaks out, and she can't she just shuts down, like she can't move. And Theo's like, it's okay, we're gonna be okay. And then when you get past that part, it starts to move, and like everything's okay again. But like the way it's like each level kind of reflects not what's wrong with her, but like the issues that she's having.
Her.
Yeah. Right. And there's one part where you're in this temple of mirrors, and mirrors play a big part in this game because you see your reflection, but it's kind of evil, and it talks to you, and it's like, I'm not doing anything. You did this, and it's like it's kind of like someone
manipulating.
Who's right, but it's someone who suffers from depression is like, I'm the problem. It's my fault. I'm causing all this. And she says that. She's like, I'm sorry. Like, Theo gets into some trouble, and she's like, I'm sorry. This is my fault. Like, this is all because of me. And he's like, no. It's I'm here too. It's my problem as well. Like, and he gets trapped in like a mirror thing because he's so obsessed with. Yeah.
I love this.
It's really cool. Like he's obsessed with social media and his phone, and he's always taking selfies with her. And because of that, he gets trapped in like a mirror glass case, and he's like trapped inside of it. It's really interesting.
It's really cool.
Yeah, like each board so far, or each level, has reflected like the issues that she's facing, and you meet really cool characters as well. Like there's an owner of a hotel, Mr. Oshiro, who's.
Well, don't give too much away.
I won't say anything about him, but he's a really cool character.
But he dies.
Yeah, what? Fuck!
But it's really cool, and like it's funny as well. Like the dialogue is super funny and charming, and all the characters are charming.
Yeah, I definitely got that from the vibe of it. It seems like a lot of fun, and bringing God of War back in this discussion tenuously. This is a game that's on a system that definitely has a larger base of children players, totally. Right? Has a the demographic for the Switch is very wide, but there is a huge section that is for kids, and it's really great that these kids get to play these things, especially when I feel like empathy is a commodity that is definitely like lacking the more we progress in humanity, but because of screens and technology and whatnot. But these games, because you can get empathy from books, you can get it from films, but this is a whole new way of experiencing that and getting a whole new perspective on certain things that you may never experience. And there's that, and then God of War has like, hey, maybe it's not okay that you're always fucking trying to kill shit in a video game. Like maybe you should take a step back and think, and like,
only kill if you're angry, son.
Yeah.
Like really angry.
Yeah. Or if you're covered in your family's ashes.
The dialogue in this game it's really good. Like as you go through and you find out more about the story, like you end up actually caring a lot more about the characters in the story more than you would think you would. Because in a platformer, like usually platformers are mechanics first, story second.
Yeah.
But this one is like the story is on par with the mechanics. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like a game like Braid, which was like a really cool game a few years back. It was
Fucking
like
hard as shit.
yeah, it's
Never
like a
beat that
cool
game.
puzzle platformer. You never beat it?
No.
Oh, the ending's so good.
Really?
So good.
I gave up on that game. I was the quitter. I am the asshole in this situation.
terrible.
It's always
I know.
one. But yeah, I mean, it's just
Always one.
yeah, it's just. But it's just one of those games. It's like it's like it's a platformer. It's a puzzle game. It's an indie game. Kind of this 16-bit art style. But it's like if you look past right behind the mechanics, there's like a pretty deep
Intense
story there that
Yeah.
it's like if you like. If you're looking for it, it's there, and,
Sure.
it's good.
Yeah,
and it's
And Braid is an example, and we have to move on here shortly. But Braid is an example where like the story's not too it's not too hidden behind like the game mechanics and stuff like that. Like it's pretty in the forefront. Like
yeah.
but yeah, you're right. Like there are a lot of very thoughtful games and very thought-provoking games that like say, hey, depression sucks, and maybe you don't experience it on this level, but some people do.
Yeah.
Check this shit out.
Yeah.
It's
It's
terrible.
real.
It's
So it's always cool seeing games like that.
Yeah.
Very,
like
very, very different than the game Shanko's showing.
Yeah, they're just straight up murdering people, just nonstop.
Although that that's
come
kind
up-
of like a
Thoughtful
Kratos
game.
kind of situation
Right.
where somebody he loves dies and he's like, oh, and he just
Okay.
runs around murdering.
Well, you think about like
We've come a long way from Manhunt. That's all I'm saying.
Kratos is John Wick. It's all the same. It's like you killed someone close to me. Now I'm gonna have to kill everybody.
Yeah, maybe that's not always the best message we are sending to people.
I think it is.
You could just be Batman and just beat the hell out of people until they're close to death.
Yeah. Just
What?
like just saying, if someone were
help you.
to
I
kill
can't
my dog, I would just murder everybody.
All right. Well, I didn't want to hear that. Okay, so here. No.
You've been warned.
Good thing I wasn't trying to murder your dog.
Oh, I'm gonna have to change my plans.
I gotta call Vero. Yeah. Don't let him eat that food. So another thing that a lot of the things that kind of stop me from playing these games, like I want to pick up Celeste tomorrow. $20, it's kind of it's not necessarily like you're buying a ring for this game. It's not as expensive as a $60 game and whatnot, but it's still, with all these great games coming out, you don't necessarily have enough fucking money and time to play all these games.
Totally.
Here's the thing, though. Microsoft is now employing it's not new. It's been out for a couple months now, I believe.
I think it's been out longer than that, right?
Mick, how long has this been out?
What?
Game Pass.
Not too long.
Right.
That was like a year, right?
Less than a year.
I think less than a year.
It's definitely less than a year. But essentially, it's Microsoft Xbox or Xbox Game Pass, where basically you pay a subscription either $10 a month for a 6-month span, or you can pay $60 for the entire 6 months, and you get to fully download and enjoy 100 plus Xbox games. And this is like talking about like arcade games. It's talking about old original Xbox games.
Yep.
I mean, Banjo-Kazooie is one of the fucking titles you can play on it. That was from like back in the Xbox Live Arcade. And then also the new thing they just announced recently is you can get to play full-fledged blockbuster AAA title games at launch, like Sea of
Yeah.
Thieves, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, or like their big ones that they're advertising.
Yeah.
And this is a whole new thing that we're seeing, a trend that we're seeing not only with Microsoft, but within the entire games industry itself, is this kind of like Netflix streaming service of video games.
Definitely, it seems to be the way things are going.
Exactly. So another thing too is I think this is their response to PlayStation's streaming service, which is called PlayStation Now, which has 600 plus games from PS3 and PS4. You could and it's actually streaming. So the difference between these two platforms is Xbox, you actually get to fully download these games and enjoy them. The other one is you actually get to stream them. So I'm not entirely sure if there's like latency or like lag issues like you would get.
No,
like, with the
you're
buffering
not
company.
really gonna get that, but a lot of the resolutions are like 720p stuff like
Oh,
that.
just to bring
It's
it
like-
down. Okay, that makes
And plus,
sense.
you own the game with the Microsoft version. Like you own the digital copy. You can
Sure.
Just have it.
With stipulations.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think
Yeah.
as soon as you stop paying the subscription, it's like, nope.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Well, yeah,
PlayStation
yeah.
Plus.
Sure.
You download a game, it's yours until you're not a PlayStation
Yeah,
Plus
yeah,
member
yeah.
anymore.
Right.
And then they're like, give us that back.
Now, in the PlayStation Now service, it's $10 a month or $100 a year. So it's definitely recommended to do the year because you're saving $20. But
Don't tell me what I should do.
Sorry,
Spend my
it was
money.
a good suggestion. You can just spend it however you want. But it's interesting that the two of the big three are already doing this streaming service, or is some shape form of this streaming service. Nintendo hasn't at least yet announced anything like this.
I feel like they're gonna do one though.
They have to. I mean, to compete, they're gonna. That's just how
No,
business works.
I don't think they're doing it to necessarily compete with them, but I think it's something they've had in the works for a while.
Yeah,
They've just been trying to figure out how to do it.
I think they rumored about it a while ago.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
this
Oh, I think they did.
the Netflix
yeah,
style
you were
games.
talking about this on
Yeah,
one of
I
the
mean, they,
episodes previously.
I mean, their thing is like their library is just astronomically good. I mean, if
Just
you
ass.
if
Just ass good.
That's good.
if you just put like even 10 of the best games on every platform onto that service,
That's subjective.
I mean, you're literally like, I mean, you would have like, 60 of the greatest games of all time.
Sure.
You know, it's just like, you just think of, I mean, just every game that's on the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, then think about like the best games on the N64. Like
Oh, you mean
Ocarina
like
of Time.
on every system? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just like they have
License-
so
Nintendo
many
license.
good. I mean, not good. I mean, amazing games. You put that on a paid subscription service for $10 a month. I mean, I would buy that all day. It's like
No, just keep buying it.
yeah,
all day.
I would just have like 60 subscriptions. I would just
Every
be
credit
like,
card I have. Just,
Like, I don't think he understands the whole point of this.
subscribe,
Don't tell him.
subscribe,
Yeah, yeah.
subscribe, subscribe.
So yeah, and like I think it comes. It's pertinent to explain this too. Is that GameStop, that dying business, last year announced around November that they were also going to do a subscription-based kind of rental service, which is where you basically pay a membership and you can rent out a pre-owned game. Because all pre-owned games were up for grabs or for rental. And you could keep paying, and you can keep it as long as you want, kind of like GameFly situation.
Yeah.
And if you kept it, I think for so long or something, that you
6
end up
months.
you
You
end up just
get-
buying it.
Yeah, you get one of the games that you rented out for free. Like you get to keep it. Yeah.
Exactly. They stopped. They immediately after they announced it, about 3 days later on the 19th of November, they were like, "We're putting it on pause." And apparently, you said it was because of their
Yeah,
computer
they
systems
have
or-
like an old computer system they need to update before they can implement this like whole rental service.
Right.
So that was basically like the
still running DOS on the
yeah,
GameStop
I don't know what's
servers.
going on over there. but
Windows
it's-
98 is what they're using.
Right.
But it's coming. It's just they're-
Okay, well then that here it is. So we have 3 huge different
is.
streaming. Yeah, there it is. We're done. And see you at the respawn. No, we
Then you
have.
think about like GameFly too. There's GameFly.
Yeah, I forgot about that thing. I never tried it. I didn't even know it still existed. I thought it was like a Redbox situation where it kind of like went to the wayside after a while with all these
I
streaming
kind of want to
services.
try it.
And then you got
Flag
EA Origins.
Couldn't tell you.
What's it called? You
EA.
know what?
EA Game Pass? It's just like,
Yeah, they have like their own thing too.
yeah,
I
it's,
can't-
it's like an EA Pass. I don't know the name of it, but
Sure.
it's on Xbox.
This
Well,
is
we
where
have- we
this is
have
where
all
it gets
these-
scary.
Huh?
This is where it gets scary.
With EA?
If no. If,
I mean, you're already. I'm terrified.
if developers and publishers have their specific pass.
It's kind of like net neutrality, or like the lack of net neutrality. Like everyone's just like now paying. Like if you want to play our games, you
Well,
gotta,
it's kind of the direction that
fee, pay the
TV's
troll.
going. Like CBS is going to have its own streaming service. Disney's going to have its own streaming service.
Yeah.
Like Warner
It's
Bros.
all
is going to
going
have.
that way.
So this thing is like, what if you have Bethesda has their own streaming service? So the Microsoft Game Pass doesn't apply to Bethesda games. It only applies to Microsoft developed games.
I
So
don't fucking like that.
I wouldn't like that either.
It's just we were talking about this before the show started, and I think you asked the question, what is this going to do for physical copies of games? Like if we're just going to be like streaming everything, will physical copies even be a thing now? Because they're already coming,
Right.
I think, at the past with
Yeah,
digital sales.
I think there's still a lot of people like myself that like having physical media
Right
because
there
it's
with you.
like
Oh,
I still
it's
collect
mine.
fucking
I
vinyl
agree.
records. Like I'm totally in that
Yeah,
ballpark.
I love having physical copies, but that don't mean shit to these companies.
Right. Well, because it's more costly.
Yeah, it's
to-
cheaper to just have digital sales.
Exactly.
yeah.
But that sucks. So like, so I'm trying to figure out, is this streaming situation, sure, like maybe we lose the physical copies, whatever. But
It's not whatever I want them.
no, I know, it's definitely a huge con. But is this streaming thing, if it's really the future of the video game industry, and that's where everyone starts to lean to, let's just pretend like you didn't say the horrific story you just told about like everyone having their own streaming
Yeah.
service. Let's just say it's the big 3, like Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft.
Gotcha.
Is this a good thing for the future of gaming? Is it good to be able to like pay $10 a month continuously for unlimited access of all these games and libraries and stuff like that?
I say
Or-
yes and no.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to kind of everything.
Sure, of course.
But like the nice thing about it, it's like first of all, $120 a year, it might seem steep at first, but then you really think about it, it's like, that's just 2 new games. So it's like, so let's say I only had $120 to spend in a year on video games. Seems to be the case half the time.
Poor.
Poor.
We all just
But
laugh.
it's-
Like, "Oh, we're all
But it's
there,
like,
too."
instead of just getting Sea of Thieves and, let's just say, the new Halo game, for instance, or whatever. So instead of just getting those 2 games, now I can play those 2, but I can play that bad-looking State of Decay game. I can at least try it, make fun of it. I could, play Crackdown 3. I can play Cuphead. I can play, like, all of these games that, like, so it's one of those things that seems like it's a pretty sweet deal. The reason I don't have PlayStation Now is because it's a bunch of old games. It's like, I don't need your old games. I want the new games. That's kind of why I don't care too much about GameStop's used game thing. 'Cause it's like, well,
yeah, but that's that. But you also haven't played all the games, so
Yeah,
you get to go
for
back
sure.
and revisit ones that you may like miss
For
because
sure.
they didn't want at the time, or
yeah, I
What's
mean,
your
which
commitment?
happens.
Yeah.
But it's like, I would get that service for brand new games that are coming out, and then since I already have the service, then I would go and go through my backlog kind of thing. So it's nice for that reason. Plus, it's or I guess it's just part of my last thing. You just have access to so many more games, and you can play games that you might not have tried.
sure, with less commitment time
Yeah,
behind it.
exactly.
But-
It's like it's like I have Netflix, and there's so many.
But that's the problem, though, is like you have Netflix, right? But how many fucking movies have you actually watched that's on your list?
I mean, the thing is, like, I'm very weird and picky with movies and shows and stuff.
Let's pretend hypothetically that you like to
No,
watch
no,
things.
no. I think I'm a great example for this because 99% of movies and shows, I hate them.
Sure.
And I would not go out of my way to watch them except for the fact that Netflix is so convenient. I'll watch an episode of something and be like, okay, I like that show, and I'll continue to watch it. Or I'll just be like, it's not my taste, then I'll stop. But I'll give things an actual chance on there. Versus, like, if you're like, hey, pay for cable and flip through it,
Just,
and
nope. Already, no.
done. Or it's just like, hey, buy this movie. Go to the movie theater. Buy what seems like a $50 movie ticket now. It's like, no, I'm not doing that.
That's why Movie Pass is so dope.
Yeah,
Movies,
that's true.
yeah, it's like a lot of
But
these
that's a
subscription-based
movie
Streaming
services.
service.
Movie
I know.
Pass is the same way.
Everything like Netflix changed the world.
Yeah.
We're moving towards subscription-based
Based,
everything.
yeah.
And this, if the gaming industry goes in this direction, again, it can be good and bad. You're getting rid of the pre-owned market
Sure.
if you do this. You're getting rid of the physical copy market if you do this, which means, GameStop would have to change its entire infrastructure. They would just
probably
not
go out of
exist.
business,
yeah,
yeah.
like they wouldn't exist.
Because like they're banking off of physical copies.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah,
all
like
their
their,
business
their
is.
whole market
Yeah.
is based off pre-owned games.
Yeah.
I could see how GameFly would die, unless it becomes unless it becomes like a service that all the developers are like, let's all go to GameFly. And
Yeah.
It's like an app.
Yeah, it's
just
like
anything else on your PS4 or Xbox One or
Right,
whatever.
right. And I could see, like, if GameFly does that, then it could become like a Netflix where eventually if developers and publishers like to go through them, then GameFly, what's to stop them from making their own original video games if they do that, depending on how successful. This is all hypothetical.
Sure. But
Haven't they been a publisher a couple times? I think so, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they have.
Who?
GameFly?
I think they've done a
I
couple
have
games.
no idea.
That I
Here's
don't know.
my question. We're definitely giving a good neutral perspective and like the good and the bad here. I think that I kind of want to know what you guys think. We don't have too much time. We're already running over a little bit right now, but I kind of want to know what you guys, if you're feeling this, if you're excited about these streaming services, like are you willing to go with the times and the flow of this, hypothetically speaking, that it stays the way it is and not like, oh, now Bethesda has a thing, this and this and this. And this.
Yeah.
I personally think that I like the fact that I have to choose which games to enjoy, whatnot, because it really makes me do a little bit of research on like what I'm gonna get, because I'm gonna commit to this thing and I want it to be good, and it also I think it helps you appreciate what you're playing more because you've committed to this thing and now you're gonna play the hell out of it. If you have this like just overwhelming amount of titles to play, you're not gonna really play anything.